Heavy metal rock.
Global mind.
Doing this, very much appreciated. This is again another interview for myglobalmind.com. Please check us out, and the usual that all the influencers say: like, subscribe, and whatever other products we need to do.
Smash the subscribe button.
Absolutely, yes. Thank you very much. We'll get you to do that as an advert for us later.
You're off. That's perfectly fine.
To get the ball rolling, really looking forward to the show tonight. It's going to be an absolute blast. However, I want to fast forward slightly and talk about summer dates, because for us Southerners, we have a quite rare moment coming up, which is a headlining slot at Made of Stone Festival at the end of July, which you guys must be pretty well stoked about.
Yes.
It was very. We got told and it was just wow.
Yeah.
You know, we're getting to play with like Wolf Mother.
Yeah.
Like I grew up. Like it was just a huge thing. Honestly,
it's Mr. Big and Living Colour as well, I think.
It's one of those things where it's sort of you, when you first start like getting interested in doing band and music and stuff like that, you're always like, oh, I'd love to play with these guys, I'd love to play with that guys, and you don't. You know, it's all like you're sitting in your front room saying it'd be nice to do it, but then when
you don't think you're ever going to
play the same
actually
stage
do it
with people like that is.
It's all a bit surreal when you're backstage and you're walking about and people saying hello to you.
Yeah.
Like, oh my god, that's.
Yeah.
So, you know, I think you always suffer from a bit of that imposter syndrome, you know, and you think, what am I doing here?
Yeah.
Well, it's legends, you know what I mean? It's,
Waiting for your opportunity to become exactly the same.
Well, exactly.
Yeah.
That's right.
So long as we always say, like, sort of, if we ever, did get to that point, making sure that we were just as, approachable and friendly to everybody else, because it is quite intimidating when you come across people who've idolised for such a long time, and then finding out that they're incredibly lovely as well just makes it even better.
Yeah.
I mean, we've both been interviewing, multiple bands for many years. I can count on one hand easily the number where it's been difficult.
Yeah.
And they've just not wanted to do it.
Yeah.
And usually, as you say, they either treat you as if you're the first time anybody's ever interviewed them, which I think is the most lovely situation to be in. Do you know what I mean? Where I've never heard that question before, and then you read all the other interviews that they've done or listen to, and you realise they've been asked it 30 times. But I felt like it was the first time from me, and that makes such a difference. So hopefully this is in fact the first time you've been asked about Made of Stone.
I'm just writing this down.
It is, yeah.
First time ever asked these questions.
Yes.
Anything else? Any others?
I've got at least 8 more first time ever questions.
Perfect, you're on, right, let's go.
Now you've been in the studio. Album 3 is en route.
Yes.
I have yet to see a title for this. Is it still under wraps?
It's still under wraps.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's the logic? Because that's quite a rare thing. Why the big delay in the reveal on the album title? Without obviously actually having to give it away.
There is still things to, we've finished the recording, but we still have much to do, much to plan.
Yeah.
There is still the theatrical side of it. There is still, character development. There's so many things that will influence it, and so many things still yet to do. So we can't really.
We know the story. The story's in place. Everything's pretty much in place. But the song titles at this point may change.
All right.
In turn, we may change the ideas of what we thought of the name of the album. There's the artwork as well and stuff like that. But it's not going to be released probably until the end of the year or early next year.
Gotcha.
So we've got time in our hands as far as that's concerned. Like Wolfie says, we've got all the theatre side of everything to plan. There's still a lot of work to do. The music's done.
Yeah.
The music's done, it sounds awesome already, you know, but there's still so much more to do.
Yeah, because we've always said, like, as a band, it's listening to us on album. You know, it's very good. You should definitely buy all of our albums. It's great. But
Twice, in all formats.
yes, all of them. As soon as it's on stage, it's different because it's all concept albums. It's all story being told.
Yeah.
Listening to it on album, you get the story. As soon as it's on stage, it's a different kettle of fish. So with the music all being done, that's fine. But now, when it comes to looking at how it's going to appear on stage, that could very easily change things. There could suddenly be an idea that sparks from one of us, and then the entire stage show goes a different direction. So, and that might even happen when I'm just on stage and I get an idea. But it's, joking aside, it is like, it's still very fluid from an aesthetic standpoint.
Yeah.
So rather than tighten it down and go, this is what we're having, this is what it is, and then I don't know, 2-3 months down the line, an idea comes to us and go, oh blazes, we've told everybody what it's going to be. It gives us a bit more wiggle room for the creative side on the actual front.
And it is presumably a continuation.
It is.
Because this is supposedly the rapper.
Yeah.
Because it was always meant to be a three-piece, wasn't it?
It's going to be a bridge between the two. So it's what? Album 1
is the end of the story.
Yeah, album 1 is the end of the story, album 2 is the first, and the album 3 is going to be the in-between, because we're edgy like that.
I was going to say, if you like Quentin Tarantino, you're going to be all over the way that we've organised this order, because it's all over the place. We've not done it coherently. So it's filling in the blank in Psychoberry's story.
Gotcha.
It's going to be this.
What we can say at this point in time is it's going to be good.
That's fair enough. But this is going to be your empire then. In terms of if you did Jedi first and Star Wars like second, then this is
Yeah, I'll take that. It's going to be.
It's going to be another 12 afterwards.
that everybody wanted and then realised they didn't.
Yes, right, absolutely.
It's going to be the gritty one. The gritty one that everybody goes, oh, that got a bit dark, didn't it?
I mean, things may change after this third album comes out. I mean, like we say, it's originally the concept was a trilogy of albums.
Yeah.
So where the band's going to go after that, we're still not quite sure. We're still going to be around and doing stuff, but it might be something completely different. It might be something in the vein of our characters, or you know.
There's
not sure.
It's a full asylum. There's plenty of people.
Yeah.
Plenty of people who can have stories told about them.
No, that's very true. I mean, that's how. I mean, if you just take Batman as an example, that's how they keep coming up with more characters, more villains, or whatever, because Arkham's full of them. Isn't it? And that concept works really well.
Because I mean, in the original concept of Ward 16, where the original idea came from, it was a full ward. We've heard 3 albums being told about one person. How many other cells were in there?
Yeah.
There's more. There's more coming, hopefully. I say this.
You made a very good point, though, about having the album and getting the physical copies, and then you said all formats. Now, I was one of those that chipped in for the all formats piece, specifically the vinyl last time around.
Believe me, so was I.
So disappointed.
Not as disappointed as we were.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, we were gutted. We had to refund everybody. And apologies from the bottom of our hearts. But all that happened, it's just bigger bands were pushing forward in the queue every time. We kept getting pushback and pushback and pushback. And there comes a point where you've got to say, or you've got to stop saying I'm sorry to people, and you've got to take action and say, we can't go on like this. And unfortunately, that's what we had to do.
Unfortunately, you end up playing second fiddle to the likes of Taylor Swift, don't you? We want 50
Exactly.
variations in different colours of the same album every time.
It maybe in the future, you know, we could maybe consider doing something with the 3 albums. It depends on the cost. I mean, you know, essentially for vinyl, it's going to cost our fans 60 or 70 quid for a 3-album package. It's a lot of money.
Yeah,
it is. Having said that, though, one of the lads from your neck of the woods, Ginger, Wild Hearts.
Yes.
Ginger's just put out the second Wild Hearts album, and that's taken from purchase to delivery just over 2 years.
Yeah.
And it's, you know, these time frames exist, as you say, for the smaller artists, don't they? And to be fair, I would say 99.9% of the fans will wait.
Yeah.
because they know the end result's going to be worth it, especially if it does end up being a box set.
That's right.
You know,
There
that's
are a lot of people that would wait. There was also a lot of people that actually said, look, hang on to the money, it's okay, we don't.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Which
that just
a lot
didn't
of
feel...
people, because it really helps, you know. But
I don't know how I feel about it when that happens, because it's like, it just feels like we've taken the money. I'm like, we're not about that.
No.
We want to be as honest.
it's not money for nothing though, because we're being productive with it.
Yeah. And the thing is,
You know,
it's...
it's used for the greater good of Ward 16.
Yeah, because you say about the fans will wait, it's a thing that we've said loads is how, I mean, hopefully this isn't taken an insulting way, they're rabid, some of our fans. They're really intense with how much they care about what we do. We have we did when we did our crowdfunder, we had the registered inmates, where if you know a certain amount that you put into the crowdfunder, you were registered as an official number, first come first served. You're an inmate number, and we thought this will be a nice community thing. People can, and you know, pipe dream. One day we get big enough that people have the bragging rights of, oh, I was number 2, I was number 3. We thought, you know, this is great.
Yeah.
And then we turned around twice, and we've got them getting their inmate numbers tattooed on themselves, and like in pride of place, like really proud of what they've
And
got.
the number of people doing it.
Yeah.
I mean, we were thinking, oh, maybe 20, 30.
Yeah.
We'll do this big package.
We got
300.
Was
Yeah.
it 300 we got to? Yeah, and it was.
Well, we were trying to raise a couple of £1,000, and by the end of it, within
We'd hit
2 months,
16.
16 grand.
Well, actually,
It was
Crowdfunders
so
top
humbling,
100
just absolutely
Oh, yeah.
blown
this
away.
year. We're actually in Crowdfunders top 100.
Super.
And it's
We've done about 30 terabytes worth of thank yous.
our tongues don't work anymore if you're saying it so much. But it's humbling, that kind of thing, because as far as, I mean, I'm speaking for myself here, but a couple of us have mentioned it before, we don't see ourselves as a big band, you know, we're still a small local band as far as
we've
we're
still got our day jobs.
and seeing so many people care that much is quite a humbling experience.
I mean, we've had stuff done to us that I've done to other bands.
Yeah.
I've fangirled on other bands and made them teddy bear versions of themselves. We have actually had people crocheting dolls of
Versions
us.
of us and
And one lady, she gave them to us individually, and I stood there and looked at this, and I went, excuse me, I have to go and have a moment. And I literally had to go right back into the corner and have a little weepy.
When somebody comes up
Because
to you at a
it-
show and presents you
just-
with a doll of yourself, it's the strangest thing.
it's either really good or you'd be very worried. You're not quite sure which way it goes.
Please don't get me wrong, it's all
was-
lovely, wonderful, strange, but it's strange.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
It's a lovely, wonderful, strange until they stick a pin in it in front of you. And then it takes a little side turn, doesn't it?
Yeah. Considering the trouble we get up to on stage, we probably won't even feel it. Like, oh, another injury. Oh well.
I think my ex has one of them actually.
Well, for the crowdfunder, I made voodoo dolls, and they're all special to order, and whoever ordered which of the member of the band they wanted.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of us out there in doll form for people to stick pins into.
And presumably people bring those to the gigs as well, because that's
We
the
haven't
thing,
seen
isn't
any
it?
yet.
We haven't had
Of
anything
the-
yet.
None of them have brought them back yet.
Not as far as I'm aware.
But you know, the inner circle of
I did say not
16
suitable
do
for
now
children.
know who is the fans' favourite.
Either that or the fans' least favourite.
Yes,
Because they want
that's
to
right.
beat them up the most. Is the story I'm telling myself because nobody bought me, nobody wanted me.
We'll do a sympathy fundraiser here for. Anyway,
Can you find it in your heart?
presumably on the crowdfunding side, that's the sort of thing that then gives you the opportunity to do those sort of extracurricular bits, because you've doubled up, you've done singles outside of the recording sessions and that as well. You've done what was the Skindred track you did?
They say it now.
Yes.
Yes.
So that sort of thing. Presumably these funders help you have those opportunities to do something a little bit different.
That one was more, as I recall, it was actually Psychiatric who had the original idea, and she's unfortunately not here, so by all means correct me if I'm wrong. It was more a case of she was originally just doing it as a thing she was wanted to do, you know, by herself.
It's a special song for them.
And she wanted to do this, and then she thought, oh, this would sound good with something else on it, and it just sort of built and built and built from there as what began as like a tiny little passion project, just for her, just to do to sort of flare off a little bit of extra creative, and it ended up turning into a
One of
gorgeous
our
sounding
most popular
single. It's
songs.
incredibly popular now, and hearing that Skindred have obviously heard it and they were in favour.
Benji loves it.
Yeah, Benji was a big fan, so that was
And it was a collaboration as well with our friends in Pulverized.
Yes.
Yes.
We've played a few gigs with them in the past. They're wonderful, great fun to have like on stage, and they joined us when we did our album launch. We had extra toys coming out of the toy box, and it was the extra members of Pulverized all clambering out with us. So more chaos on stage.
Can I just say as well, by the way, with the crowdfunder thing, the crowdfunder people contacted us last week to let us know and congratulate us that our crowdfund campaign is in the top 100 crowdfunding campaigns in the country. So I think we're the only band amongst that 100. There are other musical projects, but we're the only band who's managed to raise a significant amount.
It was something of a strange feeling. They put up the top 100, and they had all the pictures rolling down, and there's sort of fundraise for various different things, and the picture they decided to put up with us was all of us sort of squatting in a ball. I'm licking a meat knife. You can just about see Bam Bam's face popping up in the shadows where they're going, good grief, anyone scrolling through this website is going to get a shock of their lives. Like, what is this?
But you do actually want people to sit up and go a bit wide-eyed for a moment, because that actually fits the band's ethos perfectly.
The one
I don't have that shock.
Yeah, the one that I've always said is, from my standpoint, imagine we're playing at a festival, whether people, ideally if they do enjoy the music, that'd be better, but if they don't, I want at least them to go, I don't know what on earth I've just watched, but it was good. It's just the idea of people wandering past and going, what the hell is happening in that tent? That's
if you like Alice Cooper and you like Pink Floyd and you like stuff like that, you'll like us.
Now you make an interesting comparison there, because a lot of the bands that you've played with verge much heavier and more and more to the extreme end of metal, don't they? Whereas I actually think this tour could be really beneficial, because your headliners tonight carry a lot of melody in their songs. You guys carry a lot of melody in your songs, but you don't necessarily get that with the artists that you've supported before now. They're a lot, which is different audience.
It's a nice feeling when you get people from that audience going, I really enjoyed that. It makes you think, we've got through somewhere. But
there's going to be a lot of people that haven't seen us before or heard about us before, and that's what getting out and doing shows is all about, really. It's reaching a new audience. When we did, we played the Roundhouse a couple of years ago now with Cradle of Filth. And their audience, you wouldn't imagine was anything like our kind of audience, really, but the
amount of people that came
going into
up to us, that was incredible. We're like,
that was,
wow.
That kind of mind-blowing.
It was interesting judging it from the stage, because we had it was a half-hour set we had from Bradley, and you could see it took about 5 minutes for them to start going, oh yeah, I get it. I get what's going on now. The first 5 minutes was abject confusion, and then after a bit, it's like, oh, now we're sinking in. And it was lovely having loads of people coming up to us afterwards, and the most common phrase that night was, I didn't know what to expect, and I didn't expect that. Which you'll
take that, won't you?
Oh yeah, I'll take that to the bank.
We were talking about ideal touring partners for you, and we were saying absolutely, we could imagine if you guys were opening for, say, Alice on his farewell tour, because that can't be many years away.
That would be
I'd be fine with that.
That would be the perfect match there, because that point where he ends up in the straight jacket before he has he goes into either the electrical circuit piece, or he's had his head's chopped off. You can be then back on stage at this point.
I will just say that we're all massive fans of Alice Cooper. I personally have loved Alice Cooper since I was a little boy. He's my absolute hero. And one day I really want to see on stage it happening where Alice takes off his straitjacket and gives it to Psychiatric and says, there you go, mate, carry on.
That's the passing of the torch.
So, Alice, if you're listening, give me a shout. Let's be having your straitjacket, my friend. I love you, but we want your coat.
This is getting more aggressive as it's going on.
I've got a screwdriver.
I was going to say, the fact you've got a screwdriver adds that extra layer.
So, to be fair though, we picked exactly the right match, and it's as it should be.
Yeah.
Yes, which is getting you guys on stage with him, and then that's
Yeah.
the
Yes.
jacket piece in his set.
Yeah,
Perfect
it is
handover.
that kind of band with that sort of, because bands who are just performing the music and that kind of stuff is wonderful, but if you can get people who are doing that sort of very theatrical side, it gives you less of a gig and more of a theatre show that you're watching.
Exactly.
Almost. So if you had, I mean, admittedly, the backstage area would be an absolute bedlam state, but if you had multiple bands with theatrical sides, it's a no-brainer.
That's fair, that's fair. Last one, and then I'll wrap it up for us. With everything you're doing on stage and the music itself and the whole concept around the asylum and whatever, it harks back to what I call the classic sort of horror movie era for me as a teenager back in the 80s.
Yeah.
There's got to be a lot of film influences there coming through. What are our favourite horror films then that would have helped drive what you guys are working on?
Brain Dead.
Oh, God.
Brain Dead.
Brain Dead.
Oh,
Love it.
Yeah.
It's just so over the top.
Yeah.
Like that's the
I
whole
kick
point. It
ass
has to
forward.
be so over the top.
Yeah.
Just too much.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My favourite horror movie is Drag Me to Hell. Which
Sam
is,
Raimi's one.
Yeah.
yeah, it's cheesy, some might say it's crap, but it makes me jump every time. No matter how many times I've seen it, I always jump. And, you know, it gives you a fear of buttons, doesn't it? I think it's a great movie. But my favourite movie of all time, which isn't a horror, is Airplane. Because I am a very shallow man.
I mean, surely you can't be serious.
I am, and don't call me sure.
Had to be done.
Yeah.
What about over here?
Oh goodness. I don't really watch a lot of horror. So maybe we're more on the sort of thriller side. I can't actually think of anything now. You put me on the spot. I mean, I like things
What's in the box?
like It. I like things like It, and I like vampire films and things like that. And I do let myself down by saying I like Twilight. Yes, I do like Twilight. I'm sorry. Don't judge me.
Right, that's it. You're out the band. That's it.
I am an inner teenage girl.
There's absolutely nothing wrong with it at all. Listen, guys, that's been absolutely perfect. Thank you so much for doing this for us. That's been great fun, actually.
Thank you.
Thank
We'll get
you.
all this
It's
wrapped
been
up, and
amazing.
as soon as it's live and online, we'll send a link round to the band as well. But yeah,
Brilliant.
thank you very much
Awesome.
indeed.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Should we let
Heavy metal rock. Global mind.